Since round 8, their impressive win over Manly last week confirmed the Bulldogs are ready to take on anyone. Martin Bella bulldozes opposition forwards into submission. Dean Pay combines stinging defence with clever ball skills, and the dynamic Jason Smith has come of age this season. Fullback Matthew Ryan, safe under bombs and dangerous returning kicks. Centre Jared McCracken has been forced to miss this duel with ET, while Jim Dimmock is the brains behind the operation. Live from Shark Park, Cronulla versus Canterbury. Hello everyone, right around Australia and beyond. Here come the Sharks. Fullback Dave Watson, winger Ian Crossan, Andrew Eddinghausen and Jeff Bell in the centres. Paul Doolan on the other wing with Richard Barnett out injured. Mitch Healy at 5'8". Paul Green halfback, Dave Borton lock forward, Andrew Hick and Dan Staines second rowers, Les Davidson, Andrew Neve and Danny Lee in the front row. And the rain pouring down now is coming and going. Big black clouds passing over the ground, then the sun comes out. Let's hope there's more sun than rain. Canterbury, Matthew Ryan, a fullback, Jason Williams on the wing, Darren Smith and Stephen Hughes in the centres, replacing McCracken. Darryl Halligan on the other wing. It's Jim Dimmock at 5'8". Craig Pollamouta halfback, Jason Smith lock forward, Dean Pay and Simon Gillies in the second row, Martin Bella, Ben Gillies and Mark Brokenshire in the front row, Darren Britt, the man out of the front row, injured. Fresh reserves for Canterbury are Mitch Newton and Steve Reardon. For Cronulla, it's Andrew Pearce and Robbie Kearns. And referee is Stephen Clark. The crowd on their feet for the national anthem. As the match gets underway from the boot of Mitch Healy, and the opening encounter might just give us an indication of whether the Sharks are fired up for a big performance today. They really would have been thinking about it hard over the last couple of days. They know it's such an important game for them. First of all, they want to erase any memories of last week's performance. The defence will tell the story, whether there's some sting in it. Here's Dean Pay taking the ball forward and gets the offload away fairly easily. Gillies plays it. Ben Gillies now gets it out to Brokenshire. Experienced replacement. Pollamouta under a bit of pressure from Healy. Kick across field, didn't go very far forward, down to Crossan. Surrounded by Dimmock, he's run around them. No, Gillies, who lost his footing momentarily, recovers to make the tackle.
This man here, the dummy half, Dave Watson, played most of his football, in fact all of his senior football in England. He'd be used to these conditions. I believe he could be a thorn in the side of the Canterbury Bankstown side today if their chasers aren't right up and putting pressure on him.
Nice tackle by Pollamouta on Staines. Cronulla keep it going to the left-hand side, and it's Danny Lee making a few metres. Knocked over by Pay. Just inside the Canterbury half. Hick almost got his arms free. Slipped a couple of arms, but then they managed to surround him. Tangle him up. Green. Healy driving the kick through low on the bounce towards Ryan. And Ryan brings it back strongly. Broke through one tackle. He got rid of Jeff Bell.
There you go, both sides of the line.
The for and against this season shows that Canterbury really dominating in attack. They've scored 396 points compared to Cronulla's 292. In defence, Canterbury better again, 228 against them, 275 conceded by Cronulla. So an indication there of why Canterbury are on top of the ladder on 26 points. Cronulla equals 7th on 18 points, 9 wins, 7 losses for the season. And they really can't afford to slip up or they'll be history. Dimmock.
Warren, you've got a couple of options with these weather conditions. You can either, particularly Cronulla running into this wind, you can put the ball up high, or Green chose to drive it along the ground. That's not a bad tactic in the greasy conditions.
Johnny, you're saying that if you kick it low, it's going to skid, or that the ball's going to be wet. Why do you see that as a good option?
Well, I think if they drive it hard enough and low enough, I think they might get results with handling problems. But I wouldn't surrender it the way young Green did then. He just gave the Canterbury fullback an easy collect.
Now Lee takes it forward. He's knocked over by Brokenshire. Neve has quickly got into dummy half. Green gets it out to Hick. Well taken by Dimmock. Jim Dimmock has been playing so well in the 5'8" position, but Terry Lamb only a week or two away from coming back from the broken arm. Kick from Healy, a better one, down towards Williams. Hick chases him and goes low and makes a good tackle.
There he is, Barbar Lamb, shaving the goatee off. He'll be back, I believe, if not next weekend, certainly against Canberra down at Bruce Stadium. And what a guy to have come back into your team as you're running into the semi-finals. Terry Lamb, an absolute inspiration, an absolute institution at Canterbury Bankstown. And that's a real weapon for Chris Anderson.
Now Bella charges back into the ruck. Crowd called for a knock-on, and the referee may have got the word from the touch judge, but now he's pulled it up. Martin Bella saying, what's the problem? Now, was it Bella lost it, or was there a knock-on here?
Well, it wasn't a knock-on, in fact. Ben Gillies didn't knock on. The crowd reacted, and then the touch judge reacted, and he was wrong. Don't listen to the crowd. Back yourself.
Here's Green up the blind side. Halligan came in to make the tackle. He left his wing. He made the tackle. Cronulla now only 15 metres out. The backs are deep. Green standing wide. Out it comes to him. Healy. Watson up in the line. Looks back inside, but the defence up on him.
A good pressure from the Canterbury Bankstown, up in the faces of the Cronulla back line. He'll have to do that with E.T. and Watson lurking out there.
And here's Lee, 18 metres out. In centre field. Neve has runners going both directions. He goes out to Borton. The defence of Canterbury equal to the task so far. That was Ben Gillies and Smith. Neve chips into the in goal. Halligan's there. Now, can he get out? This will take some doing.
No chance of getting out. Daryl Halligan plays it safe, goes over the dead ball line, a drop out from under the post for Canterbury Bankstown. A nice little ploy and a nice little kick as well. Andrew Neve's got all the skills from dummy half, touched by Simon Gillies, so Daryl Halligan had to play at that regardless because it was touched by a Canterbury Bankstown player, and he came up with the same result. So a good start by Canterbury, a nice solid start, and they have been hitting hard in defence, so they're certainly on their game defence-wise.
Now, Les Davidson winds up as he brings it back. More pressure for Canterbury here. Cronulla, with Chris Anderson watching on, the Canterbury coach. Cronulla 20 metres out. Dan Staines hits it up. Plenty of possession early here for the Sharks. Neve heads towards the posts. Brokenshire and Simon Gillies stopped him. Hick goes to dummy half. Green now. Healy back inside behind Watson on the ground, coming from everywhere. Knocked across field by Eddinghausen, and Green manages to recover, but they've lost 20 metres. It was a bad pass behind Watson.
It's a play and move, obviously. E.T. puts a kick in and he's chasing well.
Matthew Ryan will want to hurry up. Here they come. Eddinghausen there, and Doolan. That's a strong tackle from both men. Paul Doolan and Andrew Eddinghausen. I thought Matthew Ryan was a little slow to take off after that. Didn't get too much support from the far wing either, as Jared McCracken watches.
Well, tremendous tackle by Andrew Eddinghausen. A kick and a chase. It was always the plan when he kicked that ball. He saw some open spaces on the left-hand side, put a nice kick through, and Matthew Ryan driven back into his own in-goal area by a strong tackle by Andrew Eddinghausen and Paul Doolan. 0-0, Cronulla Canterbury.
6 minutes gone and another dropout, John.
Yes, how Canterbury, whether this will be very, very important and could mean the difference between winning and losing. These early advantages are going to the Cronulla side, and good work by E.T. That's inspirational to kick and chase like that.
Borton knocked over 30 metres out. Again, strong tackle from Darren Smith, and he's in for another one. He's working hard in defence. Darren Smith in the centres, Jason Smith at lock forward. Dan Staines now inside the 20. Again, it's Smith in for another tackle. Green has Davidson behind him. Well tackled by Payne. Didn't really come back and look for the man in support. Now a penalty goes to Cronulla against Pay, raking it out right in front of the posts. They're going to take the 2 points. Now, was this lost or was it raked out in the attempt to make the play the ball by Green?
Well, there's the tackle by Green as he... Well...
Yes, it was knocked out by Pay, and that's a sin bin offence. He's just disrupting a game that the referee is trying to control. I think until you put blokes in the sin bin for those offences, they're going to continue.
Well, John, there's plenty of times that men do go in the sin bin, aren't there? I mean, you know, disrupting the attack there, so you'd wonder why not on this occasion.
Yes, I think every occasion, and that should be indicated to all clubs. We don't want that in the game. They call it a bit of professionalism to try and disrupt the team's momentum and perhaps get a scrum. But if you're caught, I think a sin bin offence is the minimum.
What, perhaps a flogging also?
Yes, a flogging. Sit in the cold there with me. That'd be punishment.
Crossan right in front. 64% success this season. This is an easy one for him. First points on the board, and it goes to the Sharks. 2-0 after 8 minutes of play.
And Warren, it's probably worth noting that the weather conditions have changed again fairly dramatically from when we did our opening piece. The rain stopped altogether, and with that, the wind seems to have disappeared again. So what was a huge gusty wind at Canterbury's back at the start of the half has eased off a little bit.
Yes, I think we're going to experience these changing conditions right through the afternoon. Halligan thumps it down to Watson, taking it on the knees safely, and gives it to Davidson.
Well, it's quite evident that Cronulla have come out with the right attitude. A tremendous start. A couple of nice little kicks in the in-goal area, some good defence, some enterprising play. They come up with 2 points, deservedly so.
There's Cronulla with 235 metres to Canterbury's 142, and Cronulla have had 70% of the ball in terms of time. So all they've got for that possession rate is 2 points. When they've put the pressure on, Canterbury had to drop out twice. Canterbury's defence was holding on. Now Hick, straight up the middle he goes, but he's met by some stiff defence. Pay there, and also Brokenshire. Neve with the kick.
Warren Hick was wrapped up well by Pay. I think it's pretty obvious Andrew Hick's an improved player who's been popping balls out the back this season, and there's a good hit by E.T. on Matthew Ryan.
That was a great hit by Eddinghausen, but now Cronulla undo the good work up inside the 10 metres. Just when they, lifted themselves, put a bit right on Canterbury. Interesting too, when Neve put that kick down the blind side, it was Polomauta who was deep behind his fullback on the wing, just dropping back for the kick with the winger up.
Interesting ploy, but what a great tackle. Another great tackle from Andrew Eddinghausen. We spoke last week, the Cronulla centre three-quarter line in particular were very vulnerable to the likes of Croker and Mullins and Meninga. But this afternoon with E.T. in the side, I doubt that whether Canterbury will get the same latitude.
So here's Canterbury in the best attacking position they've seen for a while. Total tackles again, indicating that possession rate. Canterbury forced to make twice as many tackles. Now the Bulldogs only 30 metres out. Polomauta, Dimmock, straightens it up and tears straight through. Had Smith on his right, but he pivoted to the left. Now it's Polomauta, away to Hughes. On now to Ryan. Ryan sets off the line, flicks it out in the direction he thought of Halligan, but Halligan was coming back inside. Fine attacking football by Canterbury, and a worrying sign there for Cronulla. The first time the Bulldogs have had the ball and the defence cracks.
Yeah, started by Jimmy Dimmock, just a jink off his right foot. A great little ball in there to Polomauta. He's got great strength, busts out of one tackle. Nice ball by Stephen Hughes. And Matthew Ryan, I thought Daryl Halligan would be staying on his right-hand side, but Daryl had different ideas, came inside, and the ball went astray.
Yeah, and Jim Dimmock there just showing what a tremendous player he is with the ball in his hands. How about that little selective pass to Polomauta? He went to pop it and pulled it back and just put it under the arm of the defender. Geez, a good player. He's a constant danger when he's got the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he's one of those players, Johnny. I'm sure you came across him in your career. He's one of those guys that you give him any sort of a ball, whether it be a pool table, a basketball, anything like that. He seems to be able to do it. A golf club and a golf ball, tennis, any ball game they seem to excel at.
Now Danny Lee takes it forward for Cronulla. There was no under-21s match here today, but in reserve grade, Canterbury defeated Cronulla 10 points to 2. Staines 10 short of halfway. Last tackle coming up as he plays it quickly. Healy runs to the line, puts his kick straight down towards Ryan, but the bounce gets some extra distance. Ryan met by plenty of chases. That's good Cronulla defence. Good enthusiasm, effective tackles from 4 men.
Once again, put that down to E.T. He's leading the chasers.
We've had some huge scores in all season, really huge scores, and teams can come up the next week and turn it around. Looks like today the Sharks are on their game after the battering at the hands of Canberra last week.
Yeah, different side. Their attitude vastly improved. Now Smith gets the pass back inside from Williams. That kick from Dimmock is touched in flight. Watson gathers carefully. Bit of room if he heads across field, and he sees it. Out to Bell, and Halligan again came in off his wing, but he's made the tackle. If you're going to come in, as long as you make the tackle, you've done a great job. But Doolan is the man on the Cronulla wing who's just waiting to get a pass, and he'll be free. Doolan in the side for Barnett after joining from Canterbury this season. 2 points to 0 to the Sharks. Lee now. Cronulla haven't beaten Canterbury at Caltex since 1989. Will today change that? Eddinghausen, well tackled by Smith. Right on the halfway. Last tackle now. Healy, chased by Smith, gets it to Green. Polomouta now dropping back on the right-hand wing, or the left-hand wing for him. Loses it in the tackle. It popped out. Great opportunity coming up for the Sharks from the scrum.
There we see a good hit there. A good hit there by Paul Bell. Jolting the ball free as Craig Polomouta comes up with a mistake. He won't be happy with that. Cronulla a great opportunity now to put the first try of the match on the board.
Green feeds it. Cronulla have it. Healy doesn't go for Bell. He goes to Watson. Stephen Hughes, tackle. Wasn't effective enough. Away goes Healy. Now it's Watson. Watson, a slippery customer. Dan Staines crashes into Smith. He hangs onto him. Another one for Darren Smith. They seem to be running at him. Lee. Only 8 metres out. Cronulla still looking for this first try of the match. Popped inside from Green to Hick. Now it's Neve. On it goes to Borden. He was taken by Darren Smith. No, it's not Smith. Jason Smith this time.
Tremendous hit, a try saver.
Davidson trying to get it free. Neve puts the kick through and back goes Ryan and handballs it dead. Another dropout, so this will be the third dropout of the match. Canterbury under sustained pressure, still holding their line impregnable so far.
Yeah, Andrew Neve, sorry. Another great little kick. Great little skill there by Andrew Neve. And I tell you what, Matthew Ryan got there in the nick of time with the number of Cronulla players storming through. A great bit of work by Matthew Ryan. Great positional play. Just got his hand to that one. Cronulla on the boil at the moment, doing everything right. And they need to come up with some points, but Petey.
Peter, yeah, that's what they need desperately. But that little fake by Neve where he did a pirouette, gee, that brought the defence up and then he dropped one in behind. He's a clever player.
Davidson plays it forward. The Cronulla marker had to let him go. He wasn't around in front of him. Green. And he's taken by Jason Smith. Solid hit. 20 metres out. The Sharks looking for the hole in the line. Healy dumming. Couldn't find Danny Lee, who was inside him. Neve. Long ball. Borton. Jason Smith, the tackler. Watson's got it. Unloads well. Neve off his right foot. And Simon Gillies dives on it, having knocked it down.
Well, that kick, not a good one by Andrew Neve. He's come up with some real rippers in this first 10 minutes or so. But that one a little bit misdirected. Simon Gillies does well. And there's a relieving penalty for Canterbury. And they really needed that under tremendous pressure. Did well to hold Cronulla out for as long as they did. Now they'll get a chance to put some attack on the board.
Second time they've done that, given away a penalty for inside the 10 after having Canterbury back on their own 20 or 30.
Warren, I think Mark Brockenshear's in a little bit of trouble with an eye injury at the moment too. I saw him bump into the referee a little while ago.
So there's the Sharks caught up in front of the referee, but Halligan's kick doesn't find touch. Watson's got it. And he runs into Ben Gillies.
Well, I can honestly say that all the time I've watched Daryl Halligan play rugby league, that's the first time I've seen him fail to find touch from a penalty kick.
The ball from Healy, intended for Bell, went nowhere. Doolan picks up the scraps. He's taken by Halligan. Staines. Cronulla, so far, it's got to be said, unable to break the Canterbury defence. They're trying hard, they're throwing themselves at it, but so far unable to break it despite all the possession. Again, look at those tackles. Canterbury have had to make 81 tackles. Last tackle coming up. Penalty against Canterbury. Ben Gillies was holding him down a little too long, and again, it was the Cronulla players appealing to the referee for the penalty, and he reacted.
Well, there he is, Les Davidson, after a good ball by Andrew Neve. Gives him Ben Gillies a bit of a handful, and he retaliated. That was the reason for the penalty. Hands all over Les Davidson. So, Cronulla, everything going their way at this stage of the game. As I said, a long, long time since I've seen Daryl Halligan fail to find touch from a penalty kick.
Oh, Danny Lee has gone without it. Canterbury ball. Penalties are 2-all. And our count of the hit-up rate, 34 hit-ups by the Cronulla forwards, only 8 by Canterbury. So Canterbury with the ball now inside their own 20, though. Bella. 2 points to 0 in favour of Cronulla after 18 minutes. And space found now, and away goes Dimmock. Dimmock stays on his feet. It's Halligan now, up to the 30. Here comes Watson. Watson's got him again. Continuing on from last week, a great try-saver from Dave Watson, but it's still a chance. No, Halligan's lost it. Cronulla have got it. Well, what a bonus 6 that is for Dave Watson after the tackle.
Well, we saw him do it a number of times. There's Jimmy Dimmock making a great break. Gives it to Darryl Halligan. Now Darryl pins his ears back. Thinks he might be able to get round his fellow Kiwi teammate. But no way in the world. Dave Watson and DJ Halligan just trying to slip an impossible ball out the back. Would have been better off hanging on to that one.
Pick takes it forward. Canterbury have made 2 clean breaks despite their lack of possession. I don't think Cronulla have made one yet, have they?
No, they haven't made a clean break yet, Cronulla, but
they are dominating territory. Now they've got another penalty.
Stephen Clark finding Jim Dimmock up inside the 10-metre there after he took a clean catch. Oh, the problem would be, and the concern for Canterbury, well, Jim Dimmock's not offside, but there is a number of Canterbury players that were offside. Now, the problem with Canterbury is they're giving away their penalties on the 3rd and 4th and 5th tackles. So that's why they're eating up a lot of energy making 4 tackles, then giving the Cronulla side another 6. Eventually they'll crack.
Penalties are 3-2 to Cronulla. They've got a deep back line. Green feeds it out to them. Now it's Watson, Eddinghausen looming up alongside him. Now it's Eddinghausen. Can't get away from Jason Smith. Fine tackle. Hick. Watson. Green. A little jink, and he can't get it to Borton, or at least couldn't get a good pass to Borton. Finding half a hole. Green slipping through it now. Borton having a bit of an argument with Matthew Ryan and Hughes.
Well, there's nothing in that little skirmish. Now here we see Green just half through that hole and throws a fairly decent ball, I thought, or just a little in front of Dave Borton. He couldn't get it with his fingertips. But danger sign. There's Mark Brokenshire coming off the field with looks like a bit of a gash beside his mouth.
Yeah, he's about to be replaced by Mitch Newton, but as I said, he did get his eye injured in a tackle earlier and seemed to be having a little bit of trouble with vision. So maybe the cut to the mouth happened about the same time.
Mark Brokenshire, who had a serious eye injury, had a broken jaw all in 1993. Now, Canterbury have to work it away from this end of the field. I can recall on 2 previous occasions this season, and no doubt they were in defeats for Canterbury, when Chris Anderson made the point that in the first half of games, his team had to do a lot of defending, and by the last 10 minutes of the game, they'd run out of juice. Had nothing to throw back at the opposition because they'd done so much hard work in the first half of games.
Well, nothing's changed here. We'll see a penalty, and there's a bit of a skirmish here. Now, while we talk about the skirmish, not much in that at all. Last week, there was a situation with Bradley Clyde, and a number of viewers thought I was a little bit excited. I wasn't excited about the situation with Bradley Clyde. I was merely surprised to see Bradley involved in that, and he certainly isn't one of those players, and I certainly don't condone that sort of behaviour, and I don't encourage it at all. And I know for a fact Bradley Clyde was a little bit embarrassed about the way he carried on. So don't for a minute think that I'd encourage any sort of violence. I was just surprised that Bradley Clyde, the pacifist, was involved in that situation.
Andrew Hick, the man cautioned here. Simon Gillies also spoken to by the referee, amongst a couple of others. Looking at the penalties through the season, these 2 teams have given away. Canterbury have conceded 105, the more disciplined Cronulla only 83. An indication there that Cronulla have been playing the game tight and well within the rules all season.
Here we see Ben Gillies coming in, and another player, Andrew Hick, coming in over the top. And, well, just a little bit of a skirmish in there, nothing much really doing.
Gillies tended to lead with his forearm, and I think it probably upset a couple of the Cronulla players. There's Craig Field, a mighty little South halfback.
Gee, he goes to a lot of football games. He does. He's a real football fanatic, a real football perv, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah, and I'd get rid of that goatee if I was his.
They're in thing now, goatees. I've been trying for 10 years to grow one.
Polamatta takes the tap and gives it to Bella as the sun breaks through. Bella takes it to the halfway. He didn't get too far that time, Big Marty. And again, this possession rate in metres gained all Cronulla, and now Canterbury. No, it's been allowed to go on. I thought that went forward.
Oh, do you not? That was a knockback. Good refereeing decision, Stephen Clark.
Pay now. Out it comes to Newton.
Went over his shoulder, Warren.
Let's have a look.
And that goes over his shoulder, propelled backwards.
It then bounced forward.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
It's not a knock-on.
Yep, I'll give you that one. I'll give the referee that one. Simon Gillies stepping out of tackles. He left Paul Green grappling behind on the ground.
Great
up
run,
to the 20.
Simon Gillies, unsung hero in this Canterbury Bankstown pack.
Polamatta. His supports are very flat, but the passes are quick. Last one, though, intended for Newton from Dimmock, just out in front of him and on the fingertips. He couldn't hang on. Last tackle play.
Behind the play, Ben Gillies has come off for Canterbury with a knee injury. Geordie Peets is on wearing jumper 22.
Canterbury inside the 10. Stephen Clark cracks down. And the ball knocked away, and Healy complaining.
Well, there we see the Canterbury Bankstown side all up inside the 10 metre. No doubting about that. As long as he's consistent, that's the main thing. And Stephen Clark has been one of the better referees this year with regards to keeping sides apart. Some of the games he's refereed have been absolute rippers. One that springs to mind was Canberra and Penrith. And at Penrith Park earlier in the season, an absolute blinder of a game. Stephen Clark was the referee.
Well, the tap's been taken 2 metres in front of the point it should have been. Andrew Neve has gone past the mark, and the referee had no alternative but to put a scrum down.
Well,
it's just a mistake.
A lot of times you see the referees let those go, but Andrew Neve...
I think he was 2 metres. He completely misjudged where the mark was.
So that's a real blow for the Cronulla side. They're the sort of mistakes that coaches just wince and their faces go into their hands.
Now Ryan from the scrum win.
Canterbury look more incisive in the game. They haven't looked as settled as the Cronulla side.
Polamatta, Hughes seemed to stumble as he tried to change direction. Dan Staines had him lined up. Only 2 points on the board. Cronulla have got them. 25 minutes gone. And Jim Dimmock, he's a strong player. Almost forces his way through the line. Pay. Gillies can't hang on to that. It's come off his chest. Danny Lee picks it up. Cronulla back inside their 20. Watson wants to go wide here. Healy decides there's no real point to it, though. Didn't have the men to take any further risks. Interesting to see Geordie Peets on the field. Earlier this year, when Jim Sedaris went to West, you would have thought that Peets would be the Canterbury hooker, but instead he was deposed by Ben Gillies, and then Jason Hetherington came in to take the hooking spot.
And the touch judge. Good work for the touch judge. He saw that and he called the referee. Tremendous work by the touch judge. I think it's fair to say on Geordie Peets' behalf. We'll just have a look at this replay. There's big Les Davidson, big Bundy comes in. There's the ball getting knocked out. Now the referee was blinded by Les Davidson's body, and the touch judge did a good job.
Out comes to Smith. But there's a bit of a battle on for that hooking spot, and I don't know whether it's decided yet, though. When Hetherington comes back from injury, he may slot back in again.
Well, an update on the whole situation is that suspected medial ligament damage for Ben Gillies, so that may help sort out the problem.
I'll reduce the options for Chris Anderson.
Geordie Peets had some knee trouble at the start of the season as well. The reason I know that is because the day I got out of hospital with my operation, he was going in, so to be fair to him, he hasn't had a great season as far as fitness goes.
Now Jason Smith has Canterbury only 15 metres out as Polamatta. Cronulla short on this side. Dimmock pops it back inside, though. They were working for the set play. I don't know that the better option wasn't out wide. Smith and Williams were waiting. Jason Smith kicks it straight across field. Healy takes it. No, he's lost it. It's a giveaway try to Matthew Ryan. Simple as that. It wasn't a good kick from Jason Smith. And Healy seemed to panic a little as he reached for it. I suppose he didn't have time to have a look around and realise that Paul Doolan was there in a better position to take it. It did look like Healy had come down safely with it nevertheless. But the ball pops loose. Here it is. Healy and Doolan are both there, run into each other, and neither comes up with it, and Matthew Ryan says, thank you very much.
Just Just a lack of communication here. Jason Smith kicking to the wings. I think that might have came off the side of his boot, actually. And just a mix-up in communication there. And as you said, Wine, an absolute gift to Matthew Ryan over in the corner. How often have you seen it, Johnny Peard? Here we see it again. Now, see if this comes off the side of the boot. Yeah, it certainly does. That's not what he wanted, but it's paid dividends regardless. But how many times have you seen a side dominate field position, dominate possession, and not come up with a try, then in a lucky break the other team comes up with one. Here comes Darryl Halligan, moving in. Easy money for this bloke. Strikes it well. Oh, it's just getting boring, isn't it? Darryl Halligan once again, straight through the middle.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? He's kicked 82 out of 96 this season. Rarely misses. It's 6-2 to Canterbury.
Yes, I don't think he was too happy with that kick, Peter. Did come off the side. Should have been fielded, I think, quite comfortably. Gee, that's just a giveaway. And Canterbury, the good side they are, have taken advantage of it. And Deb the Dasher has some news.
Both fresh replacements are on the field now for Cronulla. Andrew Pearce is replacing Paul Borton, and Robbie Kearns replacing Les Davidson.
But it is a situation, Peardy, we see so much, don't we, where a team dominates everything in the first 20 minutes, can't come up with the points, then bang, something really obscure happens, and the other side come up with a 4-point. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, Jack Gibson used to indicate that to us years and years ago. If you can sustain, or if you can stop constant pressure on your try line, you can come away with the goods. I think players starting to believe, Peter, that after they've taken all that a team can give, they generally feel super confident that they can go on and put some points on the board, and that's what happened again today.
Canterbury with a backline wide here. Are they going to try for it this time? No. Polamatta decides to kick down towards Watson, but there's a line of chasers racing downfield towards Watson. They don't want to give him any room. Polamatta, the kicker, first man in to make the tackle, and then the supporters arrive.
Oh, come on. Did you get a call from the touch judge there? I wonder. Because it certainly didn't look, like the tackle had been well and truly affected.
Penalties are 5-3 to Cronulla now.
There's Dave Watson. He's on the ground. The tackle's been affected. Well, very hard to tell from that angle. So I imagine the referee must have got a call from the touch judge on the far side. Here's a better angle. Now there's Jason Smith. He's got the hand on the football. Yeah, certainly did. Trying to be a little bit sneaky, Jason, then.
Sin bin.
I see, John. So you're calling for a sin bin anywhere, anytime.
Anywhere, anytime for that offence.
For raking the football?
Yes, that's disrupting a game, and the referees have got enough problems without worrying about those things.
Well, the easy solution, Peardy, would be, instead of sin binning 10 and 12 players a game, would be to get rid of the rule in the first place. If you can't hang on to the ball, you don't deserve to have it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Most of it's done on the ground.
Oh, no, not a high tackle. The referee said it was just low enough there from Darren Smith.
Most of it's affected on the ground, Peter, when the players relaxed.
Pearly kicks ahead. Here comes Eddie House. He keeps it on the toe. Great football. Rebounders. Tremendous defence comes at him, though, from Smith. Magnificent football by Cronulla. They want to quick play the ball. It was Jason Smith who got to Eddinghausen. Watson, lovely ball to Need. To Hick, to the corner. Andrew Hick, he's over. Fantastic piece of football by Cronulla. Sensational work by Mitch Healy and then by Andrew Eddinghausen to put them inside the Canterbury 20. They spun it wide. Canterbury had to be short of defenders. They'd had to come from everywhere to stop Eddinghausen. And it's 6 points all. Andrew Hick scoring wide out. But magnificent piece of football. All started by the tremendous chase. And then they swung it wide. Lovely ball here from Watson. Around she goes, slipped in between the two, popped it out. And Andrew Hick there burrows for the line, head down, pushing hard, and through he goes.
Here we see it again now. Dave Watson, the ball that he throws is the one that really comes up with the try. There it is. He sucks Stephen Hughes in. Just quick hands by Neve. And Hick burrows in. He's a big guy. And 2 or 3 metres out. Very hard to stop. Here, watch this from Andrew Eddinghausen. Not many players can come up with this sort of football. E.T., I thought he might have been offside a little bit then. But what about this for a kick? Unbelievable. That was good enough. But he cops it on the full. Comes up with a big hit. Gets up and plays the ball quickly. Fantastic play by Andrew Eddinghausen. What an inspiration he is to this Sharks side. And Cronulla always going to score on the left-hand side. Canterbury at 6s and 7s. Only 2 players against about 6. And as we see, Big Hick burrowing in right over on the left-hand side.
Now Crossan, difficult kick. Can he equal Halligan? He's going to give it a chance. It's a good-looking kick, just misses. So the score, 6 points all, 7 minutes till half-time.
Yes, here's E.T. He probably watched a fair bit of the World Cup in the soccer, and he's learnt the lessons well, but he does. Look, eyes on the ball, good effort, despite a very heavy tackle by Smith. He's got up, battled his way, and that was a great pass by Watson. Watson's just such an experienced player. Here he is, sums it up. Stephen Hughes came in again.
And John, that was Jason Smith making the final tackle. He had just tackled Eddinghausen, so great effort by him.
Yes, wonderful player, Jason Smith.
Wonderful attacking player, but also has great defence, is a good hitter in defence, but what can you say about E.T.? He's just one of those players, he just has that touch of brilliance. He can come up with things that not many other players can.
Canterbury have made more errors than Cronulla.
And Warren, there's Danny Lee just taking the ball forward in the tradition of John O'Neill, and I send him a cheerio. Lurch is in St Luke's Hospital at King's Cross, and Lurch, we're all thinking of you, only because we love you.
Yep, you can say that for all of us, John. Here's Halligan waiting for the bounce, and it finds touch. Halligan, I'm troubled, I feel about that.
There he is, Paul Green putting a nice little kick up, held up in the breeze, this one. Darryl Halligan thought it was going out on the full, that's why he let it go. But the breeze pulled it back in, just dribbles into touch, but that won't be of a concern.
Well, the breeze has started gusting again. I think we're just about to be hit by another one of those rainstorms, and the breeze has just worked itself up into a good frenzy again.
And that breeze is behind Canterbury at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. They've got it solidly at their backs, and it's just building momentum.
Dimmock kicks. Smith and Williams closing quickly. Watson will just get to it in time. Now, that's a great chase. That kick from down near their own 30, and they pinned Cronulla on their 20. Green swings it wide, but there are defenders there. Doolan runs in amongst them. Pay up there with Stephen Hughes. Green tries to get away. Hughes saw him. Kearns.
Oh,
hit
good
and
hit.
stops Jason Smith.
Full stop. I mean, that is a great... Oh, now the touch judge is in.
Well, Kearns certainly grabbing for his head. It looked to be a very strong but legal tackle. Let's have another look. Maybe that right arm was up a little high. We couldn't see it, but the touch judge was on the right side of it.
Here we see from the head-on shot, Kearns running up. Jason Smith, well, just a little bit high. Got him across the face. The touch judge will be in. So a penalty warranted on that situation.
And Robbie Kearns fractured his cheekbone in a trial game this season, so he wouldn't have enjoyed that. But certainly the tackle was aiming at the chest but made contact with the head, and I suppose if you put yourself in a position where you make contact with the neck or head, well, you've only got yourself to blame. Back go Canterbury.
Yeah, I think a penalty was a fair result from that situation.
And Neve makes no mistake with this tap. Lee up the blind. Hughes has got him, but it took a while to ride him to ground. Danny Lee seems to be looking at that blind side today. Now Pearce. They go to the blind again. It's Hick this time. Hughes came up quickly on him. Gets it back to Neve. Gives it to Staines. A big tackle attempted by Bella. Didn't quite come off. Green. Healy kicks through. Watson giving chase. Trouble here for Williams. Eddinghausen on his tail. Into touch. Now, who did that come off? Might have come off the Canterbury player, did it?
No, it definitely came off Jason Williams, I think you'll find. He slapped it into touch. A good ploy. A nice little kick through by Mitch Healy. It goes out wide. Green now to Healy. He's got a good boot, Healy. Just stabs it through behind Jason Williams. He has to scurry back and gets it into touch. So there's more pressure by the Sharkies.
Only 10 metres out here. Vital scrum this. A couple of minutes before half-time. Green. Cronulla would dearly love to score here. Going at half-time with a lead. Healy. Watson. They have difficulty getting hold of him. He's still going. Dave Watson's beaten 5 or 6. Didn't go far, but he left a lot behind. 5 metres out. Green puts a little kick through. Williams goes back, and Williams has got it. He's got to get out, though. He's got to sprint around half of him. He's still fighting, and they finally got him. Great effort, though, by Jason Williams. Cronulla putting that well-judged kick in.
Well, nice kick by Paul Green. Now, if Dan Staines was a little bit quicker, if that was Andrew Ettinghausen, I think we were looking at try time for the Sharkies. And Jason, when you watch him here, he looks like he's in a game of British Bulldog back at primary school. Gets away from 2, gets away from another one, and they hunt him up. The Cronulla Sharks like cattle dog.
2 minutes on the clock till the break. Another chance for Cronulla. Kearns. 6 points all. Hick.
He's deceptively strong, Dave Watson. There's not much of him to look at. In fact, even in the flesh, he's, I mean, he'd only be as big as Mitch Healy, but he's got a tremendous fend, great strength and great illusion.
Green spins it out to Healy. On it goes to Jeff Bell. He's well tackled by Polamato. Copybook tackle. Green needs some more options. He tries the little kick. He's still after it. And Ryan couldn't get hold of it. Ryan committed to it. 6 more tackles to Cronulla. Canterbury don't have a fullback. Ryan hasn't moved. Neve looked like he got a bit of a high tackle. Kearns taken out on suspicion off the ball. Ryan's still in trouble. The referee lets it keep going. Watson fires it to Staines. Williams up on him. Now it's Healy. On it goes to Green. Green had a look at Pearce, decided to go himself.
Oh, they're scrambling, the Bulldogs. You've got to scramble now.
Neve tries the field goal. Neve shovels it back now on the rebound. No signal of 6 more.
Now it's 6 more. No, knock on by Cronulla. It's a changeover. Now he's stopped play. Matthew Ryan. If we can have a look at that Matthew Ryan incident again. Gee, I tell you what, he showed tremendous courage. One of the toughest things to do is to dive on the football in traffic. There's a little chip kick through by Green. Now in comes Matty Ryan. Oh, he's got one right in the head. Oh, that is painful. In fact, he's clutching his arm as well. So Paul Green, in no way at all to blame in this situation. He just tries to keep it on the toe. And watch Paul Green on, in fact, what happens, you won't see it on there, but Paul Green, to his credit, went back to Matthew Ryan and told the referee that he was in some trouble.
Now Jim Dimmock is being called out. Dean Pay is the captain. Look at the problems for Matthew Ryan. That's a shame. He's having such a good season after joining Canterbury quite late.
This is starting to remind me of the Norths game that we came out here for last time. Norths got sort of hit with a run of injuries and just never got into their stride.
Now the penalty has gone to Cronulla. I'm not too sure what the incident was against Dimmock. Might have been the tackle without the ball. But the penalty has gone not far from the post. Matthew Ryan leaves the field. Once again, Canterbury have managed to hang on despite being 1 man down for that last set of 6 as Cronulla threw everything at them. Penalty's now 7-3 to the Sharks.
Was that what that penalty was for, Pierre? Did you see that?
Well, Kearns was taken out a little while before. Perhaps the linesman just waited for a stop in play, Peter.
Pretty good refereeing, I thought, by Stephen Clark too. He must have known that Matthew Ryan was in a lot of trouble, but he also knew that if he stopped the game, it was going to severely disadvantage Cronulla, and he let the set of 6 go. The trainer was with Ryan, and I'm sure the trainer would have told the referee if it had to be stopped. Crossan. It's waved away. Now that's 2 points gone begging. 2 points Cronulla would have loved to have to go in at halftime with a lead. Instead, they'll have to settle for a try each and a 6 points all scoreboards. Canterbury can thank their defence for that. They've had to soak up an almighty lot of tackling as Cronulla threw plenty at them. But Canterbury took their chances when they came, and at halftime, it's 6 points all. Competition time, and last week's correct answer was Jason Croker. Congratulations to Jack Comino from Everton Hills in Queensland, who won a Broncos supporters pack, And Lynn McGuinness from Penrith South in New South Wales, she chose a Manly supporters pack. This week, we've got a try from last week's game between Canberra and Cronulla. Who scored this try? There were plenty of them last week, but was it Jeff Bell, Paul Green or Andrew Neve scoring this one for the Sharks? The numbers will come up on your screen for Jeff Bell, Paul Green and Andrew Neve. Jeff Bell, ring 0055 60524. If you choose Paul Green, 60525. And for Andrew Neve, 0055 60526. The lines are open until midnight Thursday. You could win your choice of a supporters pack. And don't forget, when you ring, tell us your favourite team.
And we'll take you back to the football in around 4 minutes' time. Let's take a look at AFL scores and 3 matches being played this afternoon. First of all, Waverley, where North Melbourne 8-7-55 are leading the Hawks 6-3-39. Footscray 11-8 leading Collingwood 6-11, and St Kilda have led throughout 14-2-86 to Essendon's 8-9-57 at the MCG. The Sydney Swans enjoyed a rare taste of success last night at Football Park, defeating the Adelaide Crows with their 3rd win of the season. Without Tony Modra, the Crows struggled to contain the Swans and now face an extremely difficult task to make the finals. For Sydney, victory by 2 goals.
Despite dumping star full forward Tony Modra from the game, Adelaide was still expected to be too strong for the lowly placed Swans.
Lovely kick, first goal to the Crows.
Coach Ron Barassi called for a Swans fight, and early on the visitors gave full indication the home side's crowing might be a little premature. Sydney's damage could have been greater except for some easy misses.
Late last year, the kick by Kickett misses to the right. So
without Tony Modra, the Swans had little trouble containing the Crows' forward line. In his 100th top-grade match, Derek Kickett was inspirational across the Swans' half-forward line.
There it is. The Swans fans have got plenty to cheer about.
The Swans winning their 3rd match of the season, upsetting Adelaide, who may just look back to rue their decision to leave out Modra if they miss the final series.
In cricket, South Africa are back in a strong position after 2 days of the first test against England at Lord's. In reply to South Africa's first innings of 357, England are struggling at 7 for 141, still 17 runs short of avoiding the follow-on.
Today, cricket pure and simple after the historical and political resonances of yesterday, with the South Africans quickly regaining the initiative they'd lost last night. They added another 113 runs, 41 of them from Craig Matthews, before the dismissal of de Villiers allowed England to chase a total 357 that they'd have wished at least 70 runs less. At which point, matters deteriorated further. Stewart played on a low one from Donald for 12. John Crawley's first test innings ended for 9 to Hudson's second chance catch off de Villiers. And Captain Atherton waved thoughtlessly at Donald to be caught by Vessels for 20. At 68 for 3, South Africa's return to Lord's was going uncomfortably well. In these circumstances, the sight of Graham Hick playing quick bowling with competence and comfort was England's highlight of the day, and of some relief to chairman of selectors and pep talker Ray Illingworth. But when Gooch was LBW, also for 20, but this time to de Villiers, England's bloomed deeper. And the end of Hick for 38 caught Richardson, a 3rd wicket for de Villiers, illustrated that when it comes to strike bowling, England invariably follow where others lead. Follow on will be tomorrow morning's key issue. After 2 more wickets tonight, England at 141 for 7 have that old Lord's jinx.
Horse racing in the big race of the day in Brisbane was at Doomben, the Breeders' Classic, over 1,350 metres. The favourite was Bulldog Yates, starting at 6 to 4. Let's join the closing stages.
Bulldog Yates shows the way, a length in front. Alphalpheus is 2nd. Like a Rose is 3rd on the inside. Confident Kid 4th, followed by Buck's Image, Miss Vividly, Mr. Tristan, Irish Pilgrim. Bulldog Yates is the leader, 250 metres out. He leads by a length. Buck's Image is going to be the danger on the outside, coming after Bulldog Yates. Bulldog Yates is still the leader. Buck's Image is going to him with every stride. Miss Vividly's through in the middle. Buck's Image poked his nose in front. Miss Vividly dived at him and got him. Miss Vividly.
Yes, in the Breeders' Classic, number 14, Miss Vividly, started at 12 to 1. Buck's Image started at 14s, and the favourite, Bulldog Yates, coming in 3rd at 6 to 4. And quickly in rugby union, New Zealand has taken out their international series against South Africa this afternoon at Wellington in the 2nd test. New Zealand final score 13, defeating South Africa 9. Time to go back to Warren Boland now at Caltex Field, and even Stevens in the score, 6 apiece.
Yes, Karen, 6 points all and a great second half coming up because Cronulla are really taking it to Canterbury today and nothing in it at half-time. Now, one asset for Cronulla certainly this season has been Paul Green. Last year he was playing for the East Club in Brisbane. He won the Rothmans medal in the Brisbane competition before he decided to follow his coach Johnny Lang and move to Sydney.
Family most of all, and all my friends too. They're still back home. Yeah, I do get homesick now and then, but my family are pretty good. They've been down to see a lot of the games. They're all keen football followers, and they like to come down and watch as much as they can. Yeah, but it is hard to pack up and move states, and first time away from home and all that sort of stuff. I just grew up like any other kid and used to play backyard football and with all the guys around the neighbourhood. You watch the big fellas on TV and you always think, oh gee, it would be nice one day to be able to play for Australia or Queensland or whatever. When I finished school, I was always interested in flying planes, and I was looking at joining the Air Force, but I knew if I joined the Air Force it would be very hard to still play football. And I was lucky, my parents offered to put me through, do it privately. When I finished my pilot's licence, it was very hard to find work around Brisbane because I had to stay in Brisbane to play football. And so I worked as a meat wholesaler. My father was a meat wholesaler, and I just got into that. For a long time, the Brisbane comp's been very underrated. Some very good footballers running around up there. And I think guys like Andrew Neve, Jeff Bell and myself, I think it's really made guys sort of sit up and go and have a look at the Brisbane comp, because there are some very good players running around up there. Since I've come down, I've just had to make it my priority. Like, I've come down to play football, so that's what I've tried to concentrate on doing, and just staying focused on what I have to do each week. Every game you play is always going to be a hard game, and you have to be able to back up week in, week out and play at a high level all the time. When I first came down, I must admit I was a little bit awestruck. Like these are the guys that grow up, these guys are my heroes sort of thing. They've been playing for Australia and all that sort of thing. So I was a bit overawed at first, but they've been really good, like to everyone, all the new guys in the club, guys that everyone looks up to, like you said, Dan Staines and E.T. and Les Davidson, guys like that. They've really sort of gone out of their way to make everyone feel at home and welcome sort of thing. It's been really great. They've really helped everyone. It's just the whole club though. There's a good feeling right throughout the club. Lee's club's making money now, and like this, early on last year there was a question mark whether the club would still even be in the competition, but now they're making tremendous profits in the Lee's club, and it's just a good feeling right through the whole club. When I came down with John and Shane, I signed for 2 years on just a sort of it wasn't like money, that sort of stuff. It's more opportunities that I came down for, and I'm currently renegotiating my contract. They want to extend it and upgrade it, but I think there's interest from like a couple of other clubs too. I'm not sure. So I'll let my manager handle that.
Biggles the pilot, Paul Green, and I tell you what, it's not weather for flying at the moment. It's absolutely bucketing down here at Caltex, so I don't know what the conditions are going to be like for the second half. Anyway, during the week I was driving in my car when I heard the news that Phil Gould was leaving Penrith. My immediate reaction was, what a joke. Rugby league, to me, the off-field madness that's going on lately is rugby league is starting to jeopardise its right to be called a sport as distinct from a business. Anyway, let's recap some of the main events this week. On Monday, the Broncos' Kerrod Walters was fined $5,000 by the league board for bringing the game into disrepute. After he was suspended for a spear tackle 3 weeks ago, Walters, in anger and frustration, claimed the judiciary was prejudiced against the Broncos.
Without a doubt, mate. I've been there a few times now, and each time I go down, it gets worse and worse, and it's just so much prejudice towards the Broncos down there.
A few days after making the comments, Walters publicly retracted the remarks. Walters' frustration has to be seen in the light of his 3 visits to the judiciary in 4 seasons. In 1991, he was sent off for punching Wes Graham Wynn and subsequently suspended. That suspension cost him his Australian jersey. How many times since has a player thrown a punch on the field and not been sent off, let alone suspended? Last year, in the initial fervour of a crackdown on high tackles, Walters was cited and suspended for this tackle on St George's Tony Priddle. Tackles higher and more deliberate than Walters now get a caution, if that. Most recently, Walters was suspended for 2 weeks for a spear tackle on Canberra's David Furner. While there are mixed opinions on how deliberate and dangerous the tackle was, I'm willing to agree with the judiciary on this one.
carrying the unfair burden of 2 previous suspensions, Walters was suspended for 2 weeks this time, relatively light on the scale, but I can understand his frustration. Last week, Sean Garlick from East was cited but found not guilty of a spear tackle that looks probably worse than Kerrod Walters. Individually, Walters has copped a raw deal over 4 years. His comments, though, attacked the integrity of the judiciary members and were, to my mind, way out of line. No one agrees with every decision the judiciary makes, but over the length of this season, I doubt he could prove the Broncos have been unfairly treated. On Monday night, Phil Gould told Penrith he wouldn't be with the club next year. He said he would finish this season as coach, or if the club preferred, he would leave immediately. Penrith chose to appoint a caretaker coach, Roy Simmons, and Gould left. Next day, Gould signed with Eastern Suburbs for 3 years with a 2-year option to make it 5. Following Mark Murray and Warren Ryan, Gould became the 3rd coach in 3 weeks to depart well before the season is finished. Even more surprisingly in the case of Gould, because Penrith are still a chance of making the semis.
I know rugby league is big business, but at its heart and soul there should be something more, and one commitment you make to your team and your teammates is not just to play but to finish the season as far as I'm concerned.
Well, when is the contract? The contract, I suppose, but every different situation holds a lot of different circumstances, Warren, and I mean, I'm not one to comment on what Gus Gould did.
Well, the rain's pouring down, the second half's ready to go.
Well, as you can see, absolutely bucketing down here at Caltex Field. In fact, the rain's that heavy on the roof of the grandstand, you can hardly hear yourself think.
I couldn't hear myself think.
And Debbie Spillane and Johnny Peter down on the sideline with what was said at half-time. Stay dry, I suppose.
Well, I think it's mainly sort of injury management in the Canterbury dressing room. You may have noticed already Brett Dallas is on the wing. Jason Williams is going to be playing fullback. They've got a few other players with injury problems. They said expect plenty of replacements in the second half. Chris Anderson asked them to stop giving away penalties. He's very particular about that, and also to try and work on the kicking game. Obviously, the conditions are less than desirable. In fact, some of the players, the looks on their faces and some of the things they said when they came out of the dressing room, saw how the weather had deteriorated, was, well, I won't go into it. Pity.
Here's Cronulla looking good now.
Sorry, John, what's happened down there?
And just briefly, Warren, Johnny Lang doesn't expect Cronulla to have as much ball as the first half, so they're going to have to work just as hard this half. They're confident.
Green's hunting wide in centre field, and he's found Kearns. First try in the second half could be very important. Pearce charging for the posts. Andrew Pearce, only 20 years old, a young man. Already has plenty of credits on the board in representative football at junior level. Now Green trying to find the runner, but Bella was rounding him up. Crunching tackle from Bella and also Peets. Now it's Lee. What an extraordinary downpour during that half-time break, and just starting to lighten off now a little. Healy stabs through and well covered up, and you can see how wet it is as Smith slides back towards the in-goal area and ruled just to have stayed in the field of play, Darren Smith. Good place to keep them here, and that's what Cronulla have got in mind. 3 men in that tackle. Now Simon Gillies. Peets gets it out to Newton. Now it's Bella, and he's hit hard. That was a Dan Staines special. Turned him around. Polymouta. Staines tried to put some pressure on him. Plenty of puddles near Watson as he brings it back to the halfway.
Well, incredible statistic coming up from half-time, Warren. We look at the possession and time in attack. Cronulla have had the ball for 23 minutes and 15 seconds in the first half, as opposed to 12 minutes for Canterbury Bankstown, so almost double the possession, and it's an incredible feat by the Doggies to only be 6-all. Look at the tackles. Cronulla 75 to Canterbury 152, so over double the amount of defensive work by the Canterbury pack, or by the Canterbury side. So for them to be down at 6 for them to be 6-all at half-time is an outstanding effort.
Crossan does well to come away from the touchline. Now he's in a bit of trouble, though, as they started to lift him and carry him. Healy. Hick. And it finds touch. That's about all.
Warren, I forgot to mention in the half-time report there, the news on Matthew Ryan doesn't look promising at all. Looks like a broken arm.
Well, that's bad luck for Matthew Ryan. He really has been an important part of this outfit. He returned after he was ready to play for Coffs Harbour this season, rejoined Canterbury after he had retired with stress fractures to the back a couple of seasons back.
And he was the stopgap fullback today, so they're really down on fullbacks in the club at the moment with Scott Wilson out as well.
He's really made a difference, Matthew Ryan, because after Gary Connolly wasn't able to return from England this season, Ryan proved to be a very important acquisition as either a fullback or a centre. Early in the year, they were trying the likes of Brett Dallas in the centres, and it really wasn't working for them. Here's Neve. He's away from a couple of tackles. Neve up towards halfway.
Dave Watson again showing great elusiveness in the wet conditions. As I said earlier, he's played all his football in England, and he's also played a fair bit in New Zealand. As you'd realise, the weather conditions are very much like this in both those places. And I remember playing against Dave Watson when I was playing for Australia. Hang on, we'll just wait to see what happens. Playing for Australia in 1989, and the weather conditions were worse than this at Auckland, and he could sidestep at right angles, even in the conditions. So tremendous balance and footwork. That ball went forward.
Yes, it did, and the referee, Stephen Clark, hesitated for a moment, then checking the angles, maybe getting a word from the touch judge, made the decision. The right decision.
See the ball going across. E.T. just slapping it on there, just touching it on, a la Michael Cronin, and certainly went forward.
Was made to look worse because the man losing the ball was going backwards, but I'm pretty sure the ref was right. Gillies. Just short of the halfway line. 6 points all, the half-time score. 5 minutes into the second half. Who is going to gain that psychologically very important break to go ahead with the first try of the second half? Pay. Tremendous effort by both teams so far. They've really thrown themselves into this game. Smith flicks it out the back to Dimmock. Lovely pass to him. Dimmock taken by Lee Lowe.
It's great confidence in these conditions, isn't it? A little flick pass like that. Confidence in his backup players. They need a good chase on Watson here. He's always a danger.
Jesse read that well, Peter. He was on the left-hand side, or his right-hand side of the field. He stuffed that one, but...
Well, we're just talking about Canterbury showing great confidence to pass. Watson showed too much confidence. Spilled loose as he tried an ambitious one, 10 metres out from his own line. The Bulldogs now. 5 tackles to go. Close to the post. Pay is not far away. Now they dive through from dummy half, and Smith has scored. Burrowing through, all coming from that error by Dave Watson, and Jason Smith has scored the try.
Well,
he likes going from close to the goal line, doesn't he?
What class this guy is. In the space of a couple of minutes. Now you see Dave Watson making the mistake. Just drifting across field, tries to get one around the corner here, shows good spade. There it is. Oh, just hit in a nice tackle by Stephen Hughes, which lodged the ball free, but in that situation you probably shouldn't be trying to force passes like that. Now there's Dean Pay. That was after a great pass by Jason Smith to put him in that half hole. Now Jason Smith realises the Cronulla Sharks are scrambling. He throws a little dummy and just gets over with his strength.
Andrew Hick and Andrew Neve tried to stop him, but they weren't able to. Hick just went a little wide, and Neve wasn't able to recover. Hick was marked. There really was no one in defence on the right-hand side of that play. The ball in close.
And he read that, Jason Smith. He's got tremendous vision. We'll see Darryl Halligan about to move in, and he'll throw this one over.
Makes no mistake. Well, I asked who would score the first try of the second half. It's Canterbury, and they lead 12 points to 6.
Yeah, Warren, we probably didn't think the try would come quite that early after your statement. But you just can't make errors in the cup football that we watch every week. Pay took it forward very, very well. And just momentum from Smith got him there. But there's a play the ball. Danny Lee was the tackler. He didn't have a chance to get up because Smith's play the ball was Pay's play the ball very quick. And Smith the scorer.
So Canterbury now to bring it back from the restart.
Haven't we got a couple of absolute out-of-the-box class back rowers in the competition in Jason Smith and Stephen Menzies from Manly. I don't think I've seen two young players in the back row really make an impact that those two have this year. Menzies running off Jason Smith in an Australian side in years to come will be a nightmare for the Kiwis in the Pommies.
That was a good hit by Danny Staines on Newton. It's about 3 or 4 tremendous tackles. Here's Polamatta.
Lovely pass from Pay, spinning around and unloading. 10 short of halfway. Cronulla have got to stop this on-rushing Bulldog outfit now. The kick from Dimmock down to Watson. Keen to make up for his mistake. He's away again from the diving Simon Gillies. If you think about the difference between Canterbury last year and this year, I think you've got to narrow it down to, first of all, the acquisition of Daryl Halligan, primarily for his goal kicking, the improvement by Jason Smith, and then the late signing of Matthew Ryan, which helped plug the hole in the back line. Otherwise, this outfit is not greatly changed from last year.
Just 1 year older, Warren.
Yeah, exactly.
A little more experience, and Dimmock's probably a better footballer too.
You've got to remember last year they lost the preliminary final to Brisbane, and they weren't too far away from winning that game either. Healy with the kick. Still got a task on their hands here because Cronulla aren't about to lay down by any means. Williams. Halligan will go to dummy half. Polamatta. And Polamatta's strong enough to break the tackle of Kearns. He couldn't go too much further.
He's a player that could cause some damage in these wet conditions because he's very strong and he keeps his legs pumping, and players that do that in wet conditions when they get greasy, their legs and their jerseys are greasy, are very hard to hold on to. So watch out for Craig Polamatta making some inroads later on.
Bella.
They're a really good football side, Canterbury. At the break, Debbie and I both overheard the Canterbury players as they came out of the tunnel and saw the weather conditions. They used quite a few expletives. And I thought, I was looking into the players' psyche, and I thought that could work against them if they don't really look forward to going out there. But they got the job done so far.
Healy swinging it wide to Jeff Bell. And before the game, we saw the extraordinary situation where the Canterbury players were trying to get into the ground via one of the gates, and they weren't allowed in. It was fairly obvious that it was the Canterbury first-grade team, that the security man wasn't going to let them into the ground, and he kept them waiting there about 10 minutes, much to their disgust.
Well, Phil Gould reckons that they pull a bit more weight than Penrith, because he said they tried coming in that gate a few weeks ago and they ended up getting sent round to another gate, so at least Canterbury eventually got them to back down.
Now, penalty goes to the Bulldogs, I should say to Cronulla, and it's against Jason Smith, standing offside right near the referee. Referee Clark. He makes his stand early in a game that he wants 10 metres and he doesn't give way.
Well, just taking off, he was actually level with the referee. He just took off a little early then. A little bit of a hesitation in the play. The ball probably fooled him. The Canterbury Bankstown can't afford to give away penalties like that, and that's what Chris Anderson said at half-time. Less penalties, and here come the Sharks.
Lee. Over the top comes Newton, underneath us Peets. Green. Darting run, little step, got free. Pearce now. The back line deep for Cronulla. Watson's first receiver. Healy goes across field. Back inside to Bell. Pops it up nicely for Eddinghausen. Nice football by the back line. Running the angles. Good timing. Pearce, I should say, it was kneed out to Watson now. The pass goes astray. He was looking for Green. Canterbury have got it back now. Eddinghausen's forced him back into the end goal. No, referee says play it.
And how strong's ET's legs? He just pumps those legs.
Fine little run by Williams too to beat 2 or 3 there. Simon Gillies. Taken ball and all by Healy. Hick comes in as well. Bella. North Sydney, after their win over East last night, are on top of the table momentarily. Canterbury trying to knock them over once more and get back to the #1 spot with a win here. Dallas. Jason Smith. Little flat-footed. Players are going to struggle to time their runs in these heavier conditions. Dimmock kicks high on the last. Watson takes it well. The chase again is very good from Canterbury, though. Hughes doesn't make the tackle. Newton dives, and Watson runs back into Hughes. Helped out by Dimmock. Bell. Crowd trying to lift this Cronulla side. They must win this game. If they lose this, it's going to be very hard to make the semi-finals. Not impossible, but very difficult because there's so much competition. 5 other teams all involved in the challenge for 5th with Cronulla. The top 4 look fairly safe at this moment, but the rest are hot in pursuit. The kick taken by Halligan, who read it well.
Nice chase by Paul Green. What is in Cronulla's advantage? And Williams goes for a great run through the centre. Very elusive, the Kiwi.
Hasn't he improved this year? He seems to have grown in confidence and is a much better player, not nearly as hesitant and prone to mistakes as he was early in the season.
I just think he's matured, Warren. I mean, I remember playing against Jason Williams when I was playing for Norse, and he scored 3 tries against us at Bear Park one day. That's when he was playing for South. And I thought, this player is an absolute sensation. Some of the tries he scored with his ins and aways, inconsistency was his problem, but he's certainly picked it up this year.
Stephen Hughes. Eddinghausen nails him. Last tackle coming up. They're only 30 metres out here, Canterbury. Up it goes from Dimmock. Across field, though, somewhat. Gillies. Back to Newton. Last tackle still. Bella finds Williams. Chance out there. Polomouta loses it, though. Dan Staines came zeroing in on Polomouta and forced the error.
Knew he had to get rid of the ball quickly. Marty Bella kept it alive. There's the boot. There's Marty Bella, keeps it alive for Jason Williams. He sees that they're short on the left-hand side, but Craig Polomouta needed to get some quick hands away, and the pressure by Dan Staines just forced him into the spill.
Diving tackle from Mitch Newton on Hick. Lee charges in amongst them. No forward on the paddock has shirked his duties today. They've all been willing. Green. Inside to Bell. Jeff Bell seems to be fitting into this back line pretty well now. Pearce. And the wind gushes out of his lungs as he's hit hard. Last tackle coming up now. Healy. Williams playing at fullback now. The ball's gone too far. Bit of bad luck there for Cronulla. Only just a little too much on it from Mitch Healy.
Yeah, he just puts that one, gets a good roll on it, rolls dead. Incredibly long kick for a grubber kick. Must have went 60 metres. But a real bodies on the line stuff today in these sort of conditions. There's nowhere to go. You can't sidestep. You've just got to grab the ball and just go headlong into the defence and try and hurt them as well. Don't be prepared with them coming out and smashing you. You've got to try and hurt them with the football in your hand.
Pay.
Oh, that's a great
hit, Danny Staines. That's a tremendous tackle. He's showing the example. He's the captain. Now Smith. Oh, Danny Lee. Big hit. The referee's going to call him out for a caution, though. Well, again, like a few others in this game, I thought they were legal, but the referee has decided they're just that fraction too high. It'll only be a penalty.
There's the hit from Dan Staines. That's copybook stuff, kids. That's how you hit with your shoulder and drive with your legs. And Dean Pay. Now here's the other one. Well, swinging arm by Danny Lee.
But I think it hit Smith's forearm and was knocked up higher.
Well, certainly
I don't know that he would have hit him in the chin if
it was a swinging arm. I mean, there's no doubt it was a swinging arm. Whether it was reckless, intentional, or careless.
If it's a swinging arm and you hit him in the ankles, you're not going to get penalised.
But it didn't hit him in the ankles.
Tacklers. But I'm saying I don't know if it hadn't have hit his forearm, whether it would have hit him in the head. I thought it was coming in at the chest.
Yeah.
Top tacklers for Canterbury. Jason Smith, 29. Simon Gillies, 28. And Bella, 22. They've been forced to work. Dan Staines and Danny Lee, 18 each. Hick, 17.
Warren, I think we're about to get another wave of rain and wind, so the conditions are about to deteriorate fairly quickly again, I'd say, the next 5 minutes.
Jason Smith in trouble from that tackle. Let's have another look and have a close look at the height of this. Well,
yeah, I think you're right, Warren. I think Smith had his arm up to protect himself, and I think that sort of, when the arm hit it, directed it up.
I think he's hurt his leg, actually. That's what looks to be the problem. He seems to be a little bit tentative on his left leg, Jason Smith.
There's plenty of fire in that defence from Cronulla, but they're going to have to provide some more for this Canterbury attack. Newton charges forward. He's only just outside the 20-metre line. 12 points to 6 to the Bulldogs.
There's the drop ball.
Darren Smith went without it. Green through Healy, shuffling sideways to beat the tackle. Hard to put in a real sharp sidestep.
There's the drop ball from Darren Smith, just hit just as he grabbed the ball. There's another spill. Knock on both ways, the referee rules. So Canterbury should get the feed from this scrum. But certainly the conditions taking their toll on the handling has to be expected. An absolute quagmire out there now.
Here's the latest error. Andrew Hick just couldn't hang on to it. You've got to admire Canterbury. It must have taken a lot out of them mentally and physically, that big fiery game last week against Manly, but they've come out ready to play again just a week later. And they've met a pretty tough opposition here in Cronulla.
They've had a number of injuries as well, Warren, which always disrupts your side. You've got to roll with the punches, but Cronulla aren't going to give in. They're not going to lie down. There's no doubting that. They're coming at them 100 miles an hour. The crowd urging referee Stephen Clark to penalise the Canterbury side.
Green goes across field, and Eddinghausen slips away from Darren Smith. Did he go behind his own man? No. Well, no Shepherd anyway. No tackler was impeded, according to the ref. Green. Watson. Always goes across field. Likes to go back in towards the forwards, but he seems to find space. Last tackle coming up now for Cronulla. Healy kicks it deep. Williams. Now this will stay in the in-goal area, will it or not? Again, it's taken the roll. Only by a metre, but that's enough.
Dan Staines is back off the interchange bench for Cronulla. Andrew Hick has come off.
There's the kick there, just hitting that nice dry patch. There's no mud down there in the in-goal area, and the ball being able to run over the dead ball line. That's a couple of, well, you wouldn't say they're ordinary kicks. In fact, they're very well struck kicks, but just a little bit too much breakfast from Mitch Healy on both occasions.
Hay, taken by Lee. Another very good tackle. 12-6 in favour of the Bulldogs, and we've had 20 minutes of play in the second half.
Jackie, you might find the wind's gusting so erratically down here that it's making it very hard to judge the weight to put on these kicks.
He's certainly only just misjudged it fractionally, hasn't he? And he would know this ground very well. Geordie Peets. Last tackle coming up now for the Bulldogs. Again, the Cronulla defence is keeping them pinned in their own half. Watson had to come forward to that one. Stephen Hughes has got him in his sights. Wrestles him to ground as Polomouta helps him out. Total tackles, 202 by Canterbury now. Cronulla 142. Healy slips away from a couple. No doubt about this Cronulla side, and they're a better side at home. They've won 3 out of 9 away from Caltex Field. At home, 6 out of 7, but they've lost the ball here. Smith carries it away, now it's Hughes. Hughes dragged to ground by Bell. Useful attacking position.
Sensible play by Stephen Hughes on that occasion. He could have forced the pass on the first tackle, but decided to take the tackle.
Steve Reardon trying to play the ball. The penalty goes against Cronulla.
Oh, that could be curtains for the Sharkies.
It was Jeff Bell, the man who was trying to complete the tackle, and he's gone on with it a little too much there. Pushes Reardon back over the ball.
By the way, Reardon's on replacing Jason Smith.
And Debbie, did it look like a leg injury for Jason Smith? Did you notice?
I didn't see him come off. I'll check that out for you, though. We were mustering the umbrellas again.
Yeah, pretty miserable down there on the sideline. I'm glad I'm up here in the stand.
Well, the worst thing is the conditions are so erratic. Like, you know, it's pouring and then it'll fine up, and then the wind comes with the with the rain each time, and it's really quite severe, the gusting of the wind. Brockenshire's about to come back on for Canterbury as well.
Darryl Halligan, a very important kick. Canterbury leading by 6 points. He can put them out into safer territory. And who else would you want to have kicking for you? Halligan, straight between the posts. And Canterbury lead, 14 points to 6. 8-point difference now.
Well, the 8 points difference, there he is, Halligan's super boot. You wouldn't get many people in rugby league arguing with that, but that 8 points difference in these conditions will be very hard for the Sharkies to pull back. With about 17 minutes of play or 16 minutes of play remaining in this one, they'll have to hit back shortly.
Dan Staines has left the field. Dave Borton back out there. Easy to see the players who have just taken the field. They're the rare players in clean jerseys.
I think one thing you can be sure of, Warren, the possession rate that Cronulla had in the first half could not be repeated in the second half. I think we indicated that at half-time, that Canterbury were going to have a lot more ball in the second half. And they've used it well.
If that's been not so much a failing of Cronulla, but it hasn't been a strength. They've had plenty of ball. They haven't been able to use it as well as I'm sure they would like. I mean, a top team has got to be able to create opportunities. They've been peppering away, but they haven't opened them up very often. That's a tribute to the Canterbury defence, admittedly.
Yes, certainly. I was going to wrap Canterbury. They're a good football side.
Watson's had plenty of work to do at fullback. 10 short of halfway. Kearns leads with the shoulder and the hip, but he can't break them. Good tackle by Reardon that time. Healy.
Just check with the Canterbury bench about Jason Smith. Has a corked thigh.
Thanks, Debbie. Healy. He's tackled by Hughes. Didn't get too far away from him. Green quickly up to the blind side, but he slips over. A few players having trouble keeping their feet. Last tackle now. Healy pops a little one through Eddinghausen, coming for it. Williams has lost it on the ground. And Cronulla have got it, and they've got 6 more tackles. It's been a good ploy for them with Eddinghausen chasing those kicks. Led to a try in the first half. Here he is, E.T. They need some inspirational stuff from him. Probably their best attacking weapon along with Paul Green. Here is Green, inside to Borton. 20 metres out. Davidson. Great defence by both teams throughout this match. Fantastic stuff by both sets of forwards. Green, the chip kick for Watson. Came off Bella, off Watson. Canterbury have got it, but the referee found a knock on both ways. And that is a handover because the first knock on made on the last tackle.
Well, we'll have a look at this one.
Let's have another look at this. That was pretty interesting, wasn't it?
Jason Williams going for a ducking run out of dummy half.
Broken try now. Smith. Again, you've got to take your hat off to the defence of Canterbury, haven't you? They've held out again.
They certainly have. And they had a hard game last week. The conditions have probably been in their favour. In fact, they've got ahead while the conditions have been, well, fairly much atrocious. And that'll be a great hand in the end. It's very hard to score points, especially tries in this situation. Without field position, it's almost impossible.
Doolan allowing that one to bounce into touch, but it only picked up 15 metres, so very little was lost by him not going for it. And with these wet conditions, it's probably a smart decision. Chris Anderson, the low-key, down-to-earth coach, much admired by his players. Leading try scorer for the Canterbury club. Scored 117 tries in his career. Now penalty goes to Cronulla from a scrum which was screwing around. Differential penalty.
There it goes into the scrum screwing around. And I'm not quite sure on that rule. You're not allowed to break before the ball's out, and it looked to me like the ball was out.
Yes, the signal seemed to be that the lock broke prematurely. So another chance for Cronulla, who dearly need a try. Davidson Watson throws himself at them. 15 metres out. 12 minutes of play remaining. Green. Kearns. Still 15 out, though. Neve. Green goes to the line, shops around. Can't get rid of it this time. Plenty of courage from the little fella. He doesn't mind taking a tackle if he has to. Neves out of dummy half. 5 metres out. Needs a quick play the ball here. Watson a dummy half. The defence up quickly outside. Green with the kick through. It's too deep again. Third time they've kicked dead. And that's just in the second half.
Been costly for them this half, Warren, because in the first half they got plenty of restarts out of intelligent kicking, but just a little bit too much on this one. So it trickles over the dead ball line. That's the third time that's happened.
Yes, in the first half there were 3 dropouts forced by Canterbury. A few metres difference on those kicks in the second half. Pay. Canterbury still leading comfortably by 14 points to 6. They can't afford to give away any points, but while they maintain the 8-point advantage, they're on their way to a victory. Dimmock. Cronulla are desperate. They want the ball. They need a try. Canterbury starting to bridge that gap we saw earlier in the match of possession and metres gained. Last tackle on the blind side is Polamaunta. He kicks straight down to Watson. As Watson brings it back, plenty of defence there, and Debbie Spillane's got Terry Lamb with her.
Yes, Warren. Terry, I notice you like to sing out and barrack a bit when you're on the sideline.
Oh, it's just getting the frustrations out not being out there, Dev.
How difficult is it in a game like this where the conditions keep changing so drastically, the wind and the wet weather?
Well, it's very hard for the players out there because all year I don't think we've had a wet game, so we're not used to controlling the ball in the wet, and like you said, it comes up and goes down. It's very nature day today.
You'd have to be impressed with the defensive effort, though, because Cronulla have had repeated sets at them.
Yeah, they didn't control the ball in that first half, and our defence is very good. In the second half, I think Cronulla's had a lot of the ball and lucky enough to get a couple of tries.
And he goes Paul Green over halfway. He's got Eddinghausen inside. Can he get it to him? Eddinghausen positions himself beautifully. Now it's Doolan. Doolan for the line. The last pass to Dave Borton. What a magnificent pass from Doolan. It almost came to nothing. He looked as if he'd been stopped, but he's flicked a magnificent pass out to Dave Borton. And what about the lead-up from Paul Green from Eddinghausen and finished off by Doolan and Borton? That's the try Cronulla needed. They're back in this game again. Green up near halfway. A little in and away to beat the tackle of Pay, then away from Polamaunta. Inside was Eddinghausen trying to position himself. Halligan was trying to cut off the options on the other side. Doolan looked as if he'd be controlled here by the defence, but a lovely pass away to Borton. You've got to have that back up, and Dave Borton was there.
Yeah, he's always there. Green's been threatening to do this all afternoon. Running with the ball, 2 hands, throws the dummy, goes through a hole, just got around Craig Polamaunta. Now, he just couldn't suck Jason Williams in here. He couldn't suck Williams in to give the ball on the inside to E.T. E.T., I thought it had broken down, but just a great quick pass. And Ian Crossland's kicked the goal. So the Sharkies right back in this one.
14 points to 12 to Canterbury as Crossland landed that important goal. In the first half, he missed one that he should have put over.
Yeah, there's a late call. Neve went one way, heard the call from Green. And look, he just trapped a couple of players. There's too big a gap there in the defensive line. He did well to get round Polamaunta. Look at the shuffling here. Look at Williams. He did it well, Williams. He tried to give his defence a chance to get there. He didn't attack Green, but still, good skill got them out, and Doolan would have taken some satisfaction there, slipping that ball to Borton. He's a former Canterbury player, Doolan.
14 points to 12 in favour of Canterbury.
Terry, I know you're keen to get back in the grandstand, and I don't really blame you. Cronulla have just lost the ball. What would you be saying now to your team if you were out there as a captain, which I guess you wish you were?
I'd probably be saying control the ball, keep them down in their 25 if possible, and just keep our defensive line a bit tighter because the little players like young Green's a great player, and he's using his step to get outside the big second rows and front rows.
And how long before we will see you back out there calling the shots?
Well, I'm looking at next week in South Sydney. If not, then it'll be Canberra.
Okay, I'm sure all the Bulldogs fans are looking forward to that. Thanks for putting this, Terry.
Thanks, Debbie.
They certainly will be happy to have Terry Lamb back. Not that this side hasn't played very, very well without him week after week after week. Except for the loss to Cronulla in round 2 of the competition, Canterbury could have been front runners all season. They've led since round 8. But looking back at the moment on that penalty goal missed by Ian Crossan late in the first half from a fairly handy position, wouldn't they love to have that 2 points on the board at the moment? As it is, Canterbury lead by 2 points. 6 and maybe 7 minutes to go. And Polomauta's kick goes touching goal.
Been the story of the afternoon. They needed that one to hang in the in-goal area.
Cronulla in a hurry to get the game on again.
About 6 minutes remaining.
Down the other end of the field is where Cronulla need to be. Neve up the middle. The big men still splashing through the mud, legs getting heavy on both sides. Staines. And again, maybe that tackle count is worthy of note. Total tackles, 240 by Canterbury, 172 by Cronulla. That's a lot of hard work Canterbury have done. Over 75 minutes of football. Have they got the legs to finish it off? Have Cronulla got the legs to score a try? Green holds the ball out in front, tears through at them. He is a threat, Paul Green. Pete's held him down a long time, no penalty. Last tackle, up it goes. Bringing down Snow, this time from Healy. Williams has missed it. Eddie House is there. It's gone back. It should be play on. No! Crossan has forced it, but the referee says it was knocked on. Big call. I don't know.
Excitement plus. I don't know either, Warren. I think I'm with you on this one. What a bomb, but it went absolutely miles in the air. It came down with the Qantas logo on it. That's how high it went. There it is. Jason Williams goes over his head. Now E.T.'s coming through. E.T., well, I don't know whether, yes, definitely not. Good decision by the referee. And that was a try, by the way. If that wasn't a knock-on, that was a try. Ian Crossan did ground the ball before it went over the in-goal, touch in goal. So a big let-off for Canterbury Bankstown, but a great decision by Stephen Clark.
So it's Canterbury trying to control the ball and play out time now. Still 4 minutes, though. Just looking, we've got to look right around at the clock here at Cronulla. It's 5 minutes, in fact, on that clock down in the corner. Last tackle coming up for Canterbury. Polomauta almost lost it, recovered in time. The kick takes play 10 metres into the Cronulla half. It's Crossan. Dallas meets him with the tackle.
Well, what a nail-biting finish this will be. 4 minutes to go. Cronulla will throw everything at the Bulldogs.
Watson. Dave Watson. Now it's Green. Down on the halfway. Cronulla, the fans cheering as if their lives depend on it. Their football lives do for 94.
Will we see another bomb line?
Well, the last one was a superb bomb by Healy. No wonder Jason Williams lost it. It was up there for so long. Nearly went to sleep. Borton puts the kick through. Staines gives chase. Polomauta should have it covered, though, and dives on it. He's going to touch, though.
Oh, that's a penalty. That's a second tackle by Dan Staines.
Now, what's the referee here? He's having a quick word with the touch judge. No, he's not going to give a penalty. Here it is on the replay.
I can't believe that. Now, Polomauta's dead.
Oh,
he put his hand in the touch.
He put his hand in the touch.
Good decision by the touch judge. We only picked it up on the replay. Certainly it was a second tackle, but he'd already put his hand in the touch.
Polomauta must have said a few words. Here it is again. The tackle not complete at that point. His hand just goes into touch, and that's a good decision. Dool enforcing the error by Polomauta. Now he's been sent off. I don't know what's happened here. For a moment I thought he was just going to give him a warning for some sort of arguing with the referee.
Well, he's got to give a penalty now if he sent a player off.
Right in the corner, the penalty goes to Cronulla.
Do you go for the draw? Well, I obviously haven't now.
14 points to 12 to Canterbury. 3 minutes to go. Green. Healy. Healy goes wide. Eddinghausen can't get away from Smith. 15 metres out. Kearns charges at him, tries to push them off. Cronulla spread across the field. Davidson waiting out wide, so too is Staines. Healy pops it up for nobody.
Offside.
Neve has gathered it in, but like you, I would have thought he was offside. Maybe it was a Canterbury hand in the way.
It's a great pressure. A great risk there by the Canterbury defence. They knew they had to rush up and put pressure. They've got real confidence in their defensive pattern, Canterbury Bankstown. They rushed up on the defensive line and forced Cronulla Sutherland to make a mistake. And that may have been their last throw of the dice.
Dimmock. 14 points to 12 in favour of the Bulldogs. 2 minutes to go. And the word coming up to us is that Polamalu was sent off for back-chatting. He must have given the referee a gobful if he got sent off.
Well, I just checked with the Canterbury bench, Warren, and they said they believe it was for back-chatting the touch judge rather than the referee.
Well, I mean...
After he got shoved into touch.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Polamalu has been sent off for back-chatting before, just from memory.
He actually got sent off, he got sent 10 minutes in the sin bin for a late tackle and an 8-point try, and was sent off for back-chatting against North last year when North came back and beat them 18-17 after being down 17-0.
We'll hear more about that after the game. Dimmock with the kick on the last, down to Watson. Now, Dave Watson, what have you got up your sleeve? Produce it now if you're a Shark. The Shark fan screaming. He's away. Dave Watson away. Up to halfway. Eddinghausen now. The defence of Canterbury, as it has been all day, swarms all over them.
He's a handful, that Dave Watson, isn't he?
Played very, very well. Healy, back to Green. Still, there's Canterbury jerseys coming from everywhere, trying to shut them down. 1 minute to go. Canterbury lead by 2 points. Neve throws it out towards Watson. He looks wide. There's still plenty of defence up on Bell. He slips away from a couple. Canterbury still moving up well, but Cronulla looking for that one chink. Here goes the chase. It's Crossan coming through after the kick. Williams in his in-goal area. Crossan's got to get him there. Got to get him there. Corner post is gone, but that was Crossan, and Jason Williams has probably saved the game there.
Well, he has saved the game, Warren. Don't worry about that tremendous elusive run. Ian Crossan really came out. All he had to do was take a one-on-one tackle by Crossan, and he couldn't come up with the tackle.
I've got a question. The kick of Paul Green.
There's been a knock on. There's been a knock on. Cronulla will get one last throw of the dice. Unbelievable here as we go into the last. As we go into one of the full time. They've got
I want to pack this scrum. Canterbury trying to slow it down. The referee says he's heard the signal, but he's going to pack this scrum. Well, this will be the last throw of the dice. Absolutely.
The doggies have won it.
Knocked on by Green at the base of the scrum, and it's all over. Well, what a game. An amazing game of football.
Well, what a last 10 minutes, Warren. Unbelievable. Craig Polamalu sent from the field, not for 10 minutes, sent completely from the field for back-chatting. Well, I can't remember that happening. Can you ever remember that happening? Oh, I can't remember it happening ever.
I have seen it happen, but I mean, it must have been an awful gobful to be sent off.
Well, I mean, come on, Warren. What are they? I mean, are they men or what are they?
Well, I'm with you.
This is a game of rugby league. You don't get sent off.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
A mouthful.
Still, it has happened. We've had everything here today. We've had wind, rain, storms, sun at times, and tremendous warriors on both teams. Final score 14 points to 12 in favour of Canterbury.
And there he is, the man of the match. Jimmy Dimmock was in everything today. They led their kicking game, was involved in one of their tries. A fantastic player, Jim Dimmock, really a handful. I thought Jason Smith was outstanding as well today, and it was just a toss-up between Jason Smith and Jim Dimmock. Dave Watson was also outstanding in a losing side, as was Darryl Halligan.
The Canterbury supporters who've come to Cronulla go home celebrating. Cronulla supporters downhearted after that. Tremendous effort by their team, but not quite good enough. And I go back to that kick by Crossan, which missed, which may have made it a draw, but we can go down to Debbie now.
Jim, congratulations on what must have been a dreadfully tough game there at the end. How did you feel trying to hold it all together?
It was a good performance by us. You know, Cronulla haven't been beaten at their home ground this year, and it was good for us to come in and beat them.
Have you got an idea now why they're so tough to beat here?
Oh, the crowd gets behind them.
plus it's very cold down here, as you've seen today, and they always put up a good performance.
Can you shed any light on the incident with Craig Polamatta that had him sent off at the end of the game? Because it was very hard for us to tell. We believe it was back-chatting.
Oh, yeah, I think it's back-chatting to the linesman, and he copped 10 for that.
Oh, so it was a sin bin, because we understood it was a send-off.
I thought it was a sin bin, but it doesn't matter to us.
No. At this stage, well, unless he has to front the judiciary, of course. But you're happy to be heading back to lock when Terry Lamb gets back?
I don't know if I'm going to go straight back in the lock, because Jason Smith's been playing very well, and it's going to be a bit of a headache for Christian Anderson to pick the side.
You're sounding as if you might think a replacement bench. Surely not.
I don't hope to be on the bench, but I hope to be there somewhere.
Okay, thanks very much. So back to Warren and Jacko for the moment.
Jimmy Dimmock always plays well, and what an asset he's been to Canterbury with Terry Lamb out for so long, and Canterbury have proven it to themselves that they can win without Lamb. I think we can quickly go down to Johnny Peard.
Well, Dave, unfortunate to lose like that. First half effort was good, a lot of ball.
Yeah, we started off well. It was a pretty close game at half-time, you know. We thought if we hadn't come out and made any mistakes like we did to give away a try, might have been a bit better.
A few things went against you in the second half. You had a fair bit of possession down there at times. 3 kicks went over the dead ball line. That was costly. In the first half, you got the restart.
Oh, yeah. We kept them under pressure for a while, and we couldn't come up with points. And I think a couple of tries anyway were caused by a drop ball. And, you know, that's the name of the game. Yeah. If you can come up and score points like that, it's pretty good, you know.
Well, listen, congratulations. Your own form's good. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Dave Watson. Thanks, Johnny Peard. Next week, St George versus